Oh, it's been very nice seeing you, great powerful Wizard of Oz. Take care, man.
Don't look behind the curtain.
Yeah, there's Deadpool traits back there.
Product placement.
Hello?
Jeremy.
Hello, Brian K. Vaughan.
Jeremy.
You
ready to go after
That's it. He's done.
I had a million comic book questions I wanted to ask, but I couldn't pick one, so I wanted to ask, is there any movement on the Runaways movie?
Not that I've heard recently. That that doesn't mean that it's totally dead, but it's in development hack right now. I guess we'll say, if not development hell. So, no news to report. That's okay, because you've got all these awesome Runaways comics. Just go reread them.
We want more.
And they're at Avengers Academy right now. And
Whoever, guys, just go up. But whoever wants to go, you just gotta go up to the computer.
Hi. I'm Chris. I'm the guy that set all this up.
Oh, Chris, thank you. Did a bang up job.
You're massive, dude. That's what she said. You've probably heard that a lot, haven't you? Anyway, I guess everybody else was too scared to come up and say something. Hi. Oh, there we go. Oh, here we go. Got another massive dude.
It's so weird. No matter
Hey, Brian, how's it going?
Awesome. Good to see you.
I know.
You can actually see.
I know.
Yeah, it's crazy. We're living in the future.
My question is, my favorite thing that you've ever written was the Swamp Thing with Teppy.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
You're welcome. Do you think you'd ever go back and like revisit her? Maybe do you have like an idea for a mini-series maybe or something?
No, not right now. I mean, never say never, but I guess I'm so much happier. Sort of that, I think you can see in those sort of last couple issues of Swamp Thing that I wrote, there's sort of seeds of Why the Last Man were planted that I think I was starting to learn how to tell this compelling road story. So, no, I love Swamp Thing. I look back on it proudly, but no, I think I sort of took everything I learned from that and channeled it into new books. But if you like that, tell DC. They should reprint those old Swamp Things. There's some particularly awesome Giuseppe Camuncoli art in it. So
very cool.
write your congressman and tell them.
I don't know say his name.
Right.
Also, I'm not creeped out by the robot sex at all.
Okay, great. All right,
We actually have a fetish.
Rick, I don't know how to do this part. This is all you, but
Someone jump up next. Someone up next. All right.
all you.
Hey Brian, how's it going, man? Hey, so I love the fact that you got 2 bounty hunters going after the family. Are you gonna have anybody else incorporated in that? Is there gonna be like a whole galaxy going after them with spaceships and shit?
Literally.
My response would be, fuck yes.
I have one more question. What's your favorite
Who wants to go
scent
next?
candle?
I'm old school. Give me a nice vanilla.
That sounds great. Thank you.
Do I win one?
Go, rapid fire, go. Go.
Go for it.
I'm going to go again if someone doesn't get up there
Yeah,
quickly.
please.
Over and over.
So, my question is, so far we've seen about 3 big races, the guys with the wings, guys with the horns, and the robot sex people. I'm wondering, how many more alien races are you planning on introducing? Is the big question.
Yeah.
And it's probably going to have
Where you
like
can see the screen. I'm
many,
gonna have to go on
minor races, but are there going to be any big ones that are going to show up later on?
Yeah, I would say there will never be a race bigger than those 3. Those are the sort of dominant forces, but there will be many, many other sort of smaller fringe races. And yeah, we'll start to meet some as soon as issue number 2, on sale at your friendly neighborhood retailer, April 11th. So.
I'll
Woohoo!
mark my calendar.
Mark, same bat time, same bat channel.
Right on.
Guys, if anyone else just start forming a line or something.
Brian, hey, how you doing?
Hello, how are you?
Great. Hey, why don't you expound a little bit more on Avengers Academy? You
I was waiting for you to go through it.
The team up with the Runaways just came up. We've seen part 1. I assume you may have seen part 2 by now, but I just want to get your thoughts, because I thought it was for Avengers Academy. It was made for a really good team up. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
I thought it was awesome. I haven't read part 2 yet, but I thought the first part was incredible. And they're a great creative team. And I know I read a lot of reviews that were like, hey, this is your Runaways creative team right here. And I'd be happy to see these guys tackle more Runaways. Or to have the Runaways stick around. So, yeah, it was great. I'm just always very flattered when people use characters that Adrian Alfona and I helped bring into the world. It's bizarre, but I love it. And yeah, I thought it was a great appearance.
Because we're having Carmeline here at the store in a couple of weeks for Free Comic Day, so we'll have to pass that on.
Please do. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. You know.
Hey, how you doing, bro?
Good. How's life?
It's going. Thanks. Silly question. My favorite character, weirdly enough, although I do like the couple, is the guy with the cat. Were you kind of going for a Flash Gordon vibe there? You and the artist?
Yeah, I don't know about Flash Gordon, but I mean, you know, all these characters are sort of a mashup of all of my influences growing up. So it's Saturday morning cartoons and Marvel Comics, and yeah, so I'm sure Flash Gordon fits into that somewhere. But no, I guess the will is based more on just my friends who hate kids. They totally fascinate me because they're so fucking cool and they hate children. And I wish I could be like them, but I can't. I have kids and I like them. So the will isn't based so much on like the Boba Fett or other bounty hunters, just as my neighbors who hate children.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey, Brian.
Hello.
Can you explain Lost to us? I don't know what happened.
Okay, so a bunch of people go to the island, and then you saw the episode with the spaceship, right?
Yeah, of course. Fair one.
Okay, so yeah, the spaceship, and then they talk with the guy inside the spaceship, and he pretty much explains everything. So just rewatch the UFO episode until you get it. The answers are all pretty clearly laid out in that one.
All right, thank you.
Well,
That's the whole joke. 7 years bad luck for
Yeah. Hi.
hello.
I don't know if you have a set number of issues for Saga. Like, did you know exactly how long Y was going to be, and do you know exactly how long Saga is going to be?
I knew how long Y was going to be, about how long. I always knew what the last issue was going to be and what the last panel of the last page was going to be. And I knew it would be about a 5-year journey. You were aging from 22 to 27, a boy becoming a man. Saga, I know exactly what the final issue is, but not exactly how long it's going to be. I hope it'll be really long, but some of that will depend on if you guys come back every month and keep buying it. But if you do, I hope it'll be longer than like Y the Last Man and Ex Machina combined. That'll just be, you know, you can't call something Saga and have it be a 4-issue miniseries. You gotta fucking commit.
Yeah.
I'm committing. If you guys are on board, it's gonna be a long one. So, okay, so
Okay, I'll go.
Hi, Brian. How are you?
Hello, how are you?
I have a question regarding Y. What was harder for you to write, the last page with ampersand or the last page with 355? Because both of those were like the most emotional moments in recent comic history.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I guess they were both really hard, but without spoiling it for anyone in the audience who, there's something with Ampersand the monkey that happens that's kind of sad. And I was writing that on a plane from New York to Los Angeles, and I was like, oh, I gotta write the Ampersand scene. I'll bang this out in a plane trip. And I started crying like such a mental patient. That I'm sure everybody thought like I was writing a suicide letter. So, yeah, but 355 was probably equally sad, but that at least I had the decency to do in the privacy of my own home. Ampersand I wrote in public, and that's a bad idea.
Oh, all right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
You did, man.
Hi, Brian. I'm Sean. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Javier kind of touched on this a little bit earlier with the sci-fi versus fantasy lasers and spaceships versus magic kind of stuff. And a lot of like fantasy and sci-fi, whether it be novels or comics or games, they kind of keep them separate. Where the people that use technology don't really have access to the magic. Are you going to be able to mix that up? Like, are we going to see the robots when they're not fucking each other, like casting spells? Like, are we going to see stuff like that? Are we going to see a mix up of the two, where they're not always? I mean, you said they might have, like, the wizards might have guys using technology and vice versa, but will the people actually be able to do both, or is that something we're going to have to wait for?
Yeah, I guess. I can answer this by talking a little bit. I guess I in a weird way, I wanted to write about Saudi Arabia, which is like confuses me, and I don't understand. Our relationship with them is weird, but it's impossible to sort of write about head on. So I guess I'm trying to talk about our relationship with Saudi Arabia, but it's got more ray guns and healing spells and what have you. So, but yeah, I mean, I guess I want part of it to be like, oh wait, this doesn't make any fucking sense. And why did these guys who hate these guys help out with this thing? And yeah, a lot of it will make no sense, but I guess I have it all mapped out in my head. I understand the economy and the weird politics of this world, but I don't want to talk about it just to sort of talk about fantasy and science fiction. Like, I don't care so much about deconstructing those genres. It's just what sort of is bothering me about the world. How can I hide it behind something that's interesting? So I don't know if that answered your question at all.
A little bit, a little bit. I have one more question. Do you ever write with no pants on?
If you think I'm wearing pants right now, you never wear pants if you don't have to. So.
Thank you. Words to live by.
And I will not stand out.
All right, I've got kind of a general question, sort of backing out from talking about specific genres or how you deal with a story. But I was wondering what actually pushed you into comics per se. I know that there's a lot of strengths to the medium, but there's also a lot of problems with it, and you seem like a very capable writer. Everybody can agree with that. So what would you say makes comics the choice for you rather than movies or TV or what have you?
I mean, you say there are drawbacks, but if there are, I've not found any yet. It's the best. I like film and TV are great, but they're hard, you know, and very collaborative, and very expensive, and so you have a lot of people to answer to. Right. And comics are not. It's relatively cheap. You know, when you do something like Image, you answer to no one. It's just Fiona and I, whatever we want to do. Right. It just straight from our heads into your heads. That's the best. So yeah, ever since I read Watchmen when I was 12, I was like, I like comics more than I like novels, more than I like movies. This is all I want to do, but I don't know how to go to school for this, you know? So I went into film and TV, you know, by accident, I guess, because I didn't know how to get into comics. But yeah, comics are, you know, it's the best.
Okay, that's very nice to hear that Watchmen was the launching pad for the inspiration.
Oh yeah, how could it not be? Yeah.
Awesome. All right, thanks, man. Cool. Who's next?
Hello.
Hello.
So I'm going to ask a question worded slightly differently. Someone else wanted to ask this, but wasn't sure how you would take it, I guess. But you've developed a lot of original characters for like the Marvel Universe. What is it like having other creative teams pick up your original characters and run with them? Do you follow the stories after they leave, or?
Yeah, almost always. Yeah, I check in, and yeah, I love it. I always said with Runaways in particular that those are kind of like my kids who, you know, I guess because Adrian and I were moving on, we had to put them up for adoption, and we're like, but we love them so much, and it's hard. But, you know, so then they were sort of in foster care for a while, but then, like, they got adopted by Joss Whedon, and that's like Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie taking over your kids. It feels at each stage they've been adopted by really lovely people who've been like, I'm going to show you a totally different part of the world. And so, yeah, I love it. And as a matter of fact, the more different it feels, and the more it feels like, wow, I never would have done that with the Runaways, the more I like it. You know, and the same with The Hood. I love what Brian Bendis has done with The Hood. So, yeah, you know, like Why the Last Man, that book was always intended to just have an ending, and that's it. But, you know, those characters at Marvel in particular, I want them to live on. So it's awesome to see them be used by other people.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Anyone before me? No, you're up.
You're up.
Hi, Brian.
Hello.
I was actually just sitting over there. You guys came across one or two of my questions already, so I thought of a new one. When I read Why, it was just exactly like you said before. I look at it as being somebody, a boy turning into a man. He's going through a change. Saga are like new parents. Like new parents who have just been brought into a world where they have to, their priorities have changed and all of a sudden they're put together. Was that conscious? Were you like, oh, you know, I'm growing up and that's why I'm writing Why. Now I'm a new father, I'm going to write Saga. Was that a conscious decision or just something that happened?
No, it was conscious. I have almost no imagination. Like, whatever is going on. So Runaways is like, I hate my parents. Parents are evil. All right, Runaways. And now it's like, oh, fuck, I am a parent. And we're not evil. We're just so sleepy. And, but, you know, so I wanted to write about that, but it's really boring. So if you know people who are new parents, like, all their stories are so fucking boring. And, you know, if they're on Facebook, you don't want to look at their photos. Yeah, so, this is my way of talking about parenthood without hopefully being too boring.
Oh, good. No, thank you. And thanks for everything.
Oh, thank you. Hello.
I had a bunch of questions, so let me go back in rounds. I have some serious ones and some silly ones. If you don't mind, I'm going to alternate them. All right, so my next question is, who do you think would win in a fight? Starfire or Carolina from Runaways?
Man, how is this even a question? Carolina from Runaways, mop the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, everybody's behind you. Everybody's behind you. Shout out. Okay. Excluding the ones that you've already worked with, what artists would you like to work with the most and on what, if you have a choice?
Oh, well, I mean, if David Mazzucchelli ever wanted to work with me on something, I'd kill to work with him on anything, but he's an even better writer than I am as well as a great artist, so I don't think he needs to work with me. I guess Frank Quietly is the other guy who I think every writer in their right mind would put high on their list for a guy I'd kill to work with, but you know, I've also benefited so much from my career with working with relatively new artists, you know, because they're not old and bitter and jaded like I am. And so I like to work with, yeah, like I said, relatively young artists and just steal their life force.
All right. If you had a magic wand, and you could use it for one of these two things, but you have to pick one. Would you rather have one of the lions from Pride or ampersand?
Yeah.
The lions can talk, though. You can understand the lions.
Yeah, no, that's true, but they're going to eat me. Ampersand just going to throw feces at me, so ampersand, but just barely.
Just barely. I'm going to do one more and then I'll let somebody else jump in here. Oh, all right. This is a serious question. It's about the craft. Whenever you're writing, like characters that aren't specifically, you know, a part of a scene, like for example, just the Pride. Whenever they weren't being actually shown in the book, do you actually think out a backstory for what they're doing? Like when they weren't being shown in the scenes, looking for the kids or what they were doing. Do you know what they're doing at the time, or do you just not worry about it because it's out of sight, out of mind?
I guess it's somewhere in between the two. It's sort of like you know enough to fake it. It's sort of like things like a Hollywood set, you know, where it's like it's just a facade. Like you sort of know enough to get you from the, you know, one time you see Alex's dad to the next time you see him. It's just too much work to think of everything else in between. I think it's always keep your eye on what is this story that you're trying to tell and how are these characters helping that. But other than that, I know there are all sorts of writing things, like before you start, you should know your character's favorite bubble gum and where they went to high school, and sometimes I do for some characters, but a lot of the times I'm just faking it and hoping you won't notice. But don't tell anybody that.
I will be back.
It's me again. It's kind of hard looking at you here and then down here. But what brings you to kill off a character, and will you be paying for our therapy bills after Saga?
Yeah, what makes me kill off characters? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, because usually my line is that sometimes you have to kill your darlings and usually kill your favorite people, but sometimes I just like killing people because they annoy me too. So, yeah, I'm just a godlike being, and so it's totally, there's no rhyme or reason. It's just sometimes. So yeah, you will never know. But yeah, Saga will. It's going to have some ups and downs, this book. But hopefully, unlike something like Ex Machina, where I wanted to let you know up front, this is a tragedy and things are going to end horrifically badly. Saga, at least, it's going to end at least pretty well for at least one of these people.
Yeah.
So that's something, right?
Yeah, it's something. I still think Ex Machina had the most brutal ending, though. But my next question. Since you're at Image now, and pretty much the world is at your fingertips as far as owning your own work and not having to answer to anybody, do you have any other ideas you would pitch to them? You're not gonna have to say what they are, but you can just maybe answer yes or no.
No, not yet. I mean, I'd love to do more stuff with Image down the line, especially since it sounds like Saga is doing really well. It sounds like our orders for number 3 might be higher than our orders for number 1, which are that's ridiculous. And thanks to stores like Rick. So yeah, if I were going to do more comics, it would be at Image. But for right now, I just want to pour all of my energy into Saga. It's like it's a lot of work to launch an ongoing. And I don't want it to sort of feel phoned in. I just want every issue to be like, crap, I want to just quit and wait for the trades, but it's good, and so I have to keep buying it, curse you. So I'll do that for at least another year, and then if I've tricked you into liking the book, I'll coast for a while.
More
right now, Saga gets all my love and attention.
Just the first one.
All right, thanks, man.
Thank you.
Well, okay. Hi again. I have more of a. Well, it's not a personal question. Whatever. No. Everybody be quiet. What comics are you currently reading right now? And we talked a lot about this, and we talked a lot about it today, so it made me think about it. What comics, and specifically the new DC 52, do you think should die? What do you think about Rob Liefeld?
Okay, so let's see. So what am I reading right now? I read everything. I love comics. So Acme Novelty Library is always what I most look forward to. So I just think Chris Ware is since Alan Moore, I think the best creator of our lifetime. So I love Acme Novelty Library, but I'm not just the highfalutin arty-farty books. There's also IDW puts out this book, Cobra, which is Cobra fans. So it's just a spin-off of shitty toys from my youth. Mike Costa writes it, and he just writes the hell out of it. He just writes to just the top of his intelligence and the top of the character's intelligence. And I think what could have been just work for hire that he just phoned in, he sort of turned into just one of the best espionage comics on the stand. So anything from G.I. Joe comics to Chris Ware and in between, I love. From the new 52, I haven't had a chance to read much, but Wonder Woman I think is great. Cliff Chang and Brian Azzarello. Anything those guys do, I really enjoy. And I like Rob Liefeld a lot. I was X-Force was a huge comic for me when I was a kid. I remember riding my bike to Dave's Comics in Westlake, Ohio to get X-Force. It was very exciting. And I still think that Rob has this crazy energy that I love. I loved when I was a kid, and I love now. So I know he kind of takes a beating, but if you don't like Rob,
just want to end the Skype.
you should. But I like him. He's cool.
We need to get him on Skype.
Yeah, we should. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
How you doing? I was reading False Faces a while ago, and I really enjoyed the Skullduggery short.
Oh, thank you.
I'm very curious who you had. Did you have a plan for the villain for a future title, a future story?
Yeah, I did, and I guess it never came to be. So I'm reluctant to reveal it, since never say never. Maybe I'll come back and write Batman someday. But yeah, I mean, if nothing else, the best part of working on that story was the first time I worked with Marcos Martin, and he and I went on to work on Doctor Strange together at Marvel. So yeah, in particular, if Marcos was like, "Let's go back and finish this story," I might. But yeah, sorry to not spoil it for you here, but I definitely we did have a plan.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Rick, don't you want to ask him a question?
Sure. All right. I'll jump in and ask a few questions from customers that were not able to make it. One of them was that same Skullduggery story. So yeah, but understood though. We expect you to be on Saga and other books that you own forever for a while, but you never say never. You know never what's going to happen. I know you've always said you have a Superman story in mind, or I think recently you even said it was a Bizarro story that that I'm curious. Like, if you're never going to get to, why not just plot it and give it to Jay Farber or like someone else, someone else to kind of tie, or you don't think it's ever going to happen, or?
Yeah, no, I'm never into that. Like, I would think a story is only as good as the execution. I'm never into one of those, I have such a great idea, you should do this. I don't see what the point is. So, yeah, I love all those characters, and I have stories that I think are okay. But frankly, I'm not as good at it. I think I'm better working on my own stuff. If I were capable of writing the world's best Superman story, I'd be doing that instead of Saga. But I think my energy is probably better spent on Saga than Bizarro at the moment.
I agree. I'm definitely a much bigger fan of your creator-owned stuff, but I've certainly, everything from Spider-Man Negative Exposure and Mystique and all that sort of stuff. I mean, almost everything has just been very... there's a lot of great underrated stuff out there. Escapist is another thing that I love that you got a hold of, even though it's based off the Escapist character created by I'm not going to mispronounce Michael Chabon.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you Escapist is one of my favorite things I've ever read by you, and just one of the best things. I just couldn't put it down. I was like, oh my god, what happens next? This is so crazy. So hands down, one of the best things. Another question.
Right, and I'll say in particular, like especially on that book, getting to work with Michael Chabon and working on Buffy with Joss Whedon, there's something particularly nice. If the creator is involved, it makes it hard. It makes it nice, I guess. It's much harder, I guess, when it's Superman, I guess, whose creators are long gone.
Right.
But anyway.
Cool. One of the other things, what is the deal with the Roundtable script that you sold years ago, and they have not seemed to move ahead on? Any progress on that happening, or?
Nope, nothing yet. It's I like to just sort of create things that are so huge and weird that everyone's like, we would love to make it, but we just don't know how yet. So I think that's good, and I would always rather have there not be a movie than there have been a bad version of it. So Roundtable's still out there, and it might happen someday, but no plans just yet.
Can you give a quick 1 or 2 line synopsis of what that is for those that don't know?
Oh yeah, Roundtable is a script I wrote, and it's basically Merlin returns, and it says that we have an ancient evil is back, and it's going to destroy modern-day England. I need to reassemble a team of knights. But unfortunately, all of the current knights are soccer players and business guys and Sir Michael Caine. So just Sir Michael Caine and a bunch of other guys riding horses and fighting dragons in present day. And it's impossibly awesome. And yeah, it was a lot of fun to write, and I hope something will happen with it someday. But no news yet.
Right. Is it DreamWorks that has the rights to that? Is that one?
Yeah, I think it's sort of gone from DreamWorks to Paramount now. There was some sort of divorce between studios, so it's kind of orphaned at a couple places. I don't know who has it now, to be totally honest, but we'll see.
On that note, any other progress on any other, supposedly after Avengers, Runaways is going to be a bigger priority movie-wise for Marvel, or still no movement on maybe making Y a TV series? I know it kind of changed hands from the director that was attached before.
We'll see. You know, I'm always reluctant to talk about things because I've learned now, especially with Why the Last Man after the last 10 years, that nothing is real until you've sort of seen a preview for it or there's like a teaser poster. It's just imaginary. So I found just best to say no news. But then things can happen sort of very suddenly, but I just never like to talk about it because I feel like it'll jinx it. And also for me, it's like, you know, Why the Last Man and Runaways, sort of I'm done. I did everything I ever wanted to do with those characters. So a TV show or something for Why would be nice, it'd be gravy, but, you know, I'd rather concentrate on making more new things, whether it's writing new specs like Roundtable or writing comics like Saga. I just have to keep making new stuff.
Right, very cool. Very well, you've certainly proven very good at it. One other question someone had is about why did you create a character based on White Fang in the hood? they kind of they thought that was very cool literary reference in there.
Wow, thank you. That is super obscure BKB trivia.
Right.
But yeah, I like Jack London. I think he's a great writer. More importantly, White Fang was one of the rare names that hadn't already been taken for a super character. And it's always great to either steal Shakespeare or great American novelists and just sort of shoehorn them into superhero stories or Why the Last Man, and then everyone thinks you're very literate and smart. You've just got a couple of cliff notes and you read like a Wikipedia entry or something. So yeah, just fake it, I guess, is my rule.
All right, just two more quick questions, and I'll pass it back to whoever else wants to go. Was there anything you wanted to work into Lost that didn't get fit into the mix when you were in there for 3 seasons? Any big plans you threw out there and should have happened and didn't happen or anything? Or
No. I mean, I always say that being on a TV staff is sort of like a low stakes version of being a presidential speechwriter. That it's sort of like asking a speechwriter, were there any policies that you didn't get through that you wanted to happen in the Obama administration? And like, that's not my place to make big ideas. I'm here to help Damon and Carlton tell their story, and they know exactly what they want to do. And so I'm there to help to the best of my abilities, but no, there were never like, you guys should have a talking bear on the island, and you're idiots although they are idiots for not having a talking bear. No, I was just, it was a pleasure to serve there, so no real big plans.